All right, hello everyone. Eric Marks here again with another video for FindingMiddleEarth.com. And today I'm going to be talking about my new flash system here. There is literally no other video about this flash on the internet, which is crazy, on YouTube or Vimeo or anywhere. I have bought this flash from Adorama.com, and if you know, or if you buy, camera equipment, there's typically one or three places you go. You go to bnhphoto.com, you go to Adorama.com, or you go to Amazon.com. So I went to Adorama for this one because I did not know until last year that Adorama actually manufactures their own flash units. They have a few of these in their product line. They have like a Speedlight system, they have like a studio strobe, so they're pretty cool. But anyway, the more and more I looked into them, I couldn't really find any good quality reviews about them. I found a couple of blog posts where people had done stuff, but never any video reviews answering specific questions like, does this do high-speed sync? Yes or no? Does it do high-speed sync off camera with the triggers that it comes with? Right? There's a bunch of questions that you ask yourself before you buy a flash system. And so these flashes have been rebranded a few times. They used to be, I think, like the Godox 860 or something like that. But so there are videos about that online, but there still aren't any great ones, and a lot of them aren't in English. And so anyway, I wanted to do one with the this exact flash is the Flashpoint ZoomLion TTL version for Nikon. And so I bought it for $180, and now I think you can get them, they're on sale for like $140, which is a really good deal. And I'm going to basically just go over all the things that I like and don't like about it. After using this thing for a year, I've used it, actually not even for a year, I'm not sure, it's probably almost a year, but anyway, these little Zoom lithium-ion flashes are actually pretty cool. I've used them for weddings. I've used them for a lot of different corporate events, for high school reunions. I mean, I've used them for a lot of different things. So I'm just going to quickly go over what I like and don't like about it. So first thing, when you open the box, it's pretty much like what every other Nikon or Canon flash would be. It's the flash with a nice little pouch. And then inside the pouch, it still comes with your little foot here for the flash to sit on, so you can mount it somewhere. And that is pretty much that. That's all it came with. And then it came with a battery. So this is something that no Nikon or Canon flashes have. And I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. But this flash, let me show you here, actually has a lithium-ion battery that is rechargeable that you can put in this flash. And it doesn't do any AA's or AAA's or anything. It is just its own battery. And there are pros and cons to that. So the first pro is that it's basically like having a Speedlight with the battery pack plugged into it. I'm sure a lot of you know, if you shoot events, you have those SB900s and SB910s and Canon 600s and all that stuff with the big battery packs, like a quantum battery pack hooked to you, and that helps with recycle times. Well, because this is a big lithium-ion battery already in the flash, the recycle times are incredible. A full power flash on this recycles in about 1 second. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And even in the description on this when you buy it, it says it recycles in 1.5 seconds, but it's more like 1 second, which is crazy. So and then if you're shooting if you're shooting half power or quarter power or any other power on this flash, you can pretty much just fire off, my 6 frames a second on my Nikon D810 all day long, and this thing's never gonna go out on you until the battery dies. And so it says in the battery on this that you can you can shoot 650 full power flashes with this on one battery charge, which is pretty impressive because I almost never shoot on full power if I'm shooting at a wedding or anything. I have, I'll have a few of these set up in the corners, and I'll have them all on maybe quarter power or maybe half power, depending on how dark the place is. But I mean, that's really impressive. So basically any event that I've ever shot this with, I've never had to change the battery. I've just it lasts the whole day on one battery charge. Whereas with Speedlights, I have had to change AA's before just in case, because it'll, the little battery bars will go down and you don't want it to die during like the first kiss or something. So anyway, these are really impressive. So I'm gonna go over some pros and then I'm gonna go over some cons. So the pros is one of the first things I like is, like I said, the battery. It's just crazy the recycle times you can get without having to hook in a battery pack and wear it around your shoulder, your neck, and you don't even have to deal with that. It's just built in. So that's a great pro there. Another pro is it actually feels really solid. I didn't think it was going to feel this solid because it's 140, or well, yeah, now it's $140 flash, and it includes the $80 wireless triggers, which is just, it's crazy the value you get. So, and I'll talk about the triggers in a second. So that's a pro. Is the build quality is actually pretty impressive. Another pro is that it has a metal hot shoe, which is nice. A lot of the flashes that are third party like this have plastic hot shoes, and sometimes they'll crack and they're really easy to break, and so that's a nice one. Another pro is that the flash power is really good. I'm not sure, 100% sure what the guide number is on this, but compared to like an SB910 that I use, it's very comparable. I know it's not as powerful, at least I don't think, but it's very comparable. I mean, I don't, when I use this on top of my camera versus a SB910, I'm not wishing that I had anything. You know, I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, it's not powerful enough for what I'm doing. It's perfectly fine. It does have the AF assist beam, so it shoots out those weird little, you know, lines for the autofocus. So it has that. That's a big pro. It has a PC sync port as well, so that is a pro. It has one here, and then it has the little connector here for the wireless trigger, which I'll get to in a minute. Another pro, it has the swivelly head, and it goes all the way around, so to both sides, which is nice. And the really big pro on this with that is that you don't have to click a button to turn the head. You just turn it, because when I'm in fast situations at an event or anything where I need lighting, I like to just, you know, turn it and go. You know, bounce off the wall, boom, bounce off the ceiling. I hate having to mess with the little, you know, release button and then hold the button in and try to, you know, it's something that I hate fiddling with while I'm at an event. So that is a nice pro. The reliability, I mean, that's actually, I have never had this misfire on me. It's always worked. I've never had it not go off, unless I was trying to, you know, push the recycle times to a crazy, you know, to a crazy, like, you know, I don't know, 10 full power flashes or something like that. But like I said, even the recycle times are pretty quick. But I've never had it, you know, not fire on me. It's always been reliable, which is something to say about a $140 flash. And then I know a lot of the other competitors to these are the Yongnuo flashes, which are much more popular and much more well known on the market than these, because this is an Adorama branded flash. But I like these way better than the Yongnuos. I have had Yongnuo flashes crap out on me and not fire and do lots of other weird, funky things. And so the only thing that I'm a little concerned about with this that I kept reading online, but it hasn't happened with these yet. It was just when these flashes were branded under the Godox brand, which I don't even know if they're still the same thing, but I heard that the lithium-ion battery in here would end up swelling after a few times of use, and you couldn't even get it out, and it would end up swelling so much that it would just crack the flash, and that would be it. You just basically just have a big paperweight. So I have not had that happen yet, and I've been using this flash for a long time, and the battery is the same battery I got with it. Hasn't had any swelling, and it hasn't been difficult to get out. Just pops right out, slides right back in. So all those problems seem to have been fixed. And so I'll get to some more pros in a second, because they're kind of pros and answered questions that a lot of people have had on the internet. So let's get to some cons. So one thing that I am not a huge fan of is that when you mount the hot shoe onto anything like your camera, is that it still has that stupid rolling wheel that you just roll down and you tighten. I've never been a big fan of that. I don't like it because it's plastic, and so when I screw it down on my Nikon D810 hot shoe, it leaves like black plastic marks on my hot shoe, and I have to rub them off with like lens wipes or something, so not a big fan of that. So I wish it did have some kind of clasp, just like the Nikons, but you know, I understand that the Nikon is $550 and this isn't, so I get that, but not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of the buttons. So when I went back to saying, you know, build quality is really good, the flash is very good, the build quality is great, but the buttons feel really cheap. That's just, I don't know what the deal is there. I'm guessing it's just because it's not a Nikon, but yeah, the buttons just feel kind of cheap, but everything else is nice. Another big con, and this is going to be when I'm involving the wireless trigger. So this trigger here, this tiny little thing, is what goes in the flash. It actually just clamps on, and I'll show you that. So it just slides right in here and permanently stays right here. So it just clamps onto the side. So I like that because it's very flush with the side. But the thing I hate about it is that this trigger feels so flimsy and plasticky, and that mixed with the fact that it's really hard to get it out of this slot once you put it in is good and bad. It's good in the fact that I know it's not going to fall off if I'm leaving this on a stand at a wedding and I'm carrying it around. At least I know that won't fall out. But it's so hard to get out that I am afraid I'm going to break the little trigger because it's so flimsy and plasticky. So let me try to get it out right now. As you can see, I'm pulling really hard, and so there, it finally came out. But every time I do that, I'm afraid I'm going to break it. However, it still has not broken, so that is saying something. But yeah, this trigger just, I mean, it's so cheap feeling. This one, on the other hand, the one that goes on top of the camera, which I'll mount that there right now so you can see. This one is actually not bad. So it has a metal hot shoe as well, which I like. Still has the stupid rolling wheel that tightens it. And this little flash has actually pretty good quality buttons. It has a little LCD screen. The power button is on the side here, nice and out of the way, so I don't accidentally hit that. And it actually has pretty good build quality, so I don't really have any cons with this one. This is great. So I like this a lot. Let's talk about the high-speed sync. That is like one of the biggest questions that I had as well online, and I even posted a question on the Adorama product page that this was on. I posted a question and got a lot of very conflicting answers. My biggest question was, does this flash do high-speed sync on camera and off camera with the wireless triggers, or does it only do it when you're using triggers that are enabled with high-speed sync, like the Pocket Wizard Flex system or something like that? So I'm going to mount this to my camera, and first off I'm going to show you the recycle times because they're insane. Let's put this on, and by the way, this has, if you hit this there's a little light button. It has a nice little light here that lights up, so that's actually another pro. I like the little illuminated LCD on the back. Anyway, so right now on the back I'm going to put this on full power. Okay, so right now the flash is on full power, and I'm going to show you the recycle times here because they're pretty insane. That's full power flashes right there, and I just shot off a ton of them. So that's like the biggest selling point with me, because I hated using SB 700, 900, and 910s, and I have to wait like 3 seconds for a full power flash. Not, again, I don't shoot full power that often, but the recycle times just aren't there. Okay, so now let's take this down to let's take it to half power. Okay, right here, and I'm just going to put this in continuous shooting. I'm going to show you how insane this recycle time is. I mean, that's pretty darn good. I'm shooting at 6 frames per second. So recycle times I'm very happy with. This is just, it's been great for that, especially when you're shooting, like I said, events and weddings where you're tracking the bride and groom coming down in a very big, dark place, and you can just keep your continuous shooting and your focus tracking with a flash going off every single time. That's awesome. So I love that. Let's talk about high-speed sync. So it took me like 2 days straight to dig into the manual that came with this. So let's talk about the manual for a second before I dig right into high-speed sync. That is probably going to be the thing that you're going to be most unhappy with. So I got this, like I said, bought it brand new in the box. It came with a little paper Flashpoint manual. And you open up the manual, and it has a picture of what the control should look like on the back of this flash. But I have no earthly idea why all the buttons on here are completely different than the ones that are in the manual. It's like a completely different flash. Like my button here, there's a button on this flash that just has a little like lightning bolt logo on it, but that same button in the manual has a logo on it that says HS for high-speed sync, but mine doesn't have that. So I'm sitting here, looking at the manual, and it says that to activate your flash into high-speed sync, press the high-speed sync button. And I'm like, I don't have a high-speed sync button. I just have a little lightning button. So I pressed the lightning button, and it didn't do anything. So I had to end up Googling the manual for the Godox. I think it's the VC860 or something like that, back when this flash was branded under Godox. And I had to use that manual to go back and forth with the manual and these buttons, because the manual that this thing came with doesn't help me at all. It's literally like a completely different flash and different button setup. So be aware of that. But I tried so long to get the high-speed sync to work on this, and I ended up seeing that there is a little place on the screen for a H and a little lightning button to pop up. I just could not figure out how to get it to pop up. And so I finally went into my Nikon camera on the back of the menu here, and I went into, and I'll put some of this on the screen. I went into bracketing and flash on my menu, went into sync speed, and I went into auto FP mode. And so as soon as I did that, the little H button popped up on the back of my flash. And now I can do high-speed sync with this thing. So now I can go past 250th of a second. It's wonderful. So that's a big pro. The con, and Adorama actually told me this, by the way. So if you're watching this, Adorama, you need to train your salespeople a little harder, because I asked 2 people before I bought this. I said, look, I really don't want to have to buy it and then return it and get something else. I said, does your flash do high-speed sync off camera with the Flashpoint provided triggers? They said, yes, absolutely. It says so in the description. And I said, okay, great. Well, then this is a crazy deal. Ship it to me. So I bought it over the phone after 2 of their sales reps said that it did it. And I even asked them, can you please double and triple check for me? Because I really want to know. They double checked, and it's still, you cannot do high-speed sync off camera with this, with the provided triggers. Now, if I am wrong and I'm missing something, please someone correct me in the comments. That I welcome that, because I'll just thank you, because I really want to do off-camera high-speed sync without having to get into other triggers and then like adapters for a hot shoe and get the Pocket Wizard Flex system and all that. I just don't even want to have to get into all that. I would just want it to work. But you can do high-speed sync on camera, mounted to the hot shoe. So that is a pro. It does do high-speed sync. And this can do high-speed sync off camera, I know for sure. If you do get the Pocket Wizard Flex system, it will do it off camera. But I wanted it to do it with the Flashpoint provided triggers, because with this, I can control the power of the flash, I can control the zoom of the flash, I can put it into groups and different channels. So this is great. This trigger, like I said, is actually wonderful. The only downfall is that you can't do a high-speed sync off camera. And by the way, while I'm talking here, I'll put some pictures on the screen that I've shot at weddings and stuff with this flash, because most of the time I really do have it mounted on my hot shoe. And really, when are you going to be using high-speed sync at a wedding when you're desperately trying to get your camera to 100th of a second or 200th of a second in the low light? So you're not going to be using it there. But I use high-speed sync almost every time I do outdoor portraits. And for that, I use a different system off camera. But pretty much for any events, and if you're a wedding photographer out there, this is a great way to go just to save some money. And I didn't even get this, to be honest, to save money. I got it because of the lithium-ion battery. I can't get an SB910 or a $500 Canon flash that does crazy recycle times without getting the battery. So I mean, that's why I got it. So a lot of people say, oh, don't cheap out and get this flash. I didn't cheap out. I got it, and it does better than my $550 flash, because the recycle times are insane on it. So all in all, would I recommend you buying this flash? Absolutely. It is a great flash. It's very good value for the money, especially since it comes with the triggers for the $140 price right now. Would I recommend it to someone who does a lot of high-speed sync work? No, unless you want to get the flash and then spend the money on the Pocket Wizard Flex system and go that route. But each trigger for that is like $200. So at that point, you just got to kind of weigh out your odds and ends and see what you want to do. But overall, really like it. If I could rate this flash a 1 out of 10, I would probably rate it like a 7, which is really good, because I'm really tough on camera equipment. There's a lot of stuff that I typically always find myself wanting more of, but this one has impressed me. The Yongnuo stuff, I think it's all crap. I hate it. But this has been great. So I will post an update on this if anything new comes up, if I figured out, how to do the high-speed sync a different way or something, or if this disappoints me in some way. But right now it's working great. I love it. The recycle times are wonderful. The menu is not very hard to navigate on the back, but the manual, remember, the manual that comes with this thing is so wrong. And I hope Adorama is watching this, because it is just there's no reason why you should pay $140 for anything and then open up the manual and it is a completely different flash in the manual than it is in person. There's no reason why that should happen. It's unacceptable, whether you're paying $10 or $10,000. It should never be a manual that's a different product from the actual product you bought. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it if you subscribe if you like the video, so you can always be notified of all my newest content. And I will have, by the way, episode 2 of Portraits Around the World is coming in a couple of days. I'll be posting that on the channel. And if you guys would like to check out my work, go to my website at findingmiddleearth.com. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and take care. Thanks a lot for watching.